Hi, it's Liz here. So, as we all know, Wizard Liz has recently been cheated on while being 4 months pregnant by this guy named Landon. So, she's a famous dating and life coach. Uh, she often talks about the power of our thoughts, manifestations, meditation, energy, and all of these esoteric things as well. But does it always work? I guess the answer is no. So today I want to talk to you about the really, you know, downside of magical thinking, how it can lead to situations like this. Before we start, I want to say that I do not blame her for his actions. He's the one to be blamed in this situation. But let's see what she could do differently in the future and what we can do differently in our lives in order to minimize the risk of meeting such people who can really hurt us at times. Also, at the end of this video, I'm going to share my tips on how to stay rational and maintain critical thinking while being infatuated or in love with somebody, and it can be really hard at times. Magical thinking is the belief that our thoughts can some way affect the reality, that we can, for example, meditate. And I've recently watched a video on Abba and Bridge's channel where they looked into this money meditation. So one of these aspects of magical thinking would be the fact that she actually believes that if you listen to her money meditation, not going to work, but listening to this meditation will actually help you make more money. Of course, meditation can be great, especially to deal with anxiety and some other things like mental problems in general. I don't say that they are useless, but when you start believing that your thoughts are so powerful, then you can affect everything around you, it may really become problematic. Not just for you, but the people around you. One of the examples is the miracle at the airport. So now a lot of people say that I'm talking about the fact that they met and the way they described this meeting at the airport when it was all by chance and it happened so randomly. So there are actually two things that could happen, really. First of all, maybe Landon just stalked her, which is awful. And now his ex girlfriend, Abby, came out and said that he did similar things to her. So it is a possibility. So imagine Liz talking about the fact that she felt this energy inside of her, and he also said that he felt some spiritual thing inside of him when he met her, and he just looked at her and he knew. So all of these things, it's magical thinking. So they may feel some form of attraction and they attribute it to the fact that, whoa, I'm actually having this incredible like feeling sent to me from space that this person in front of me is the one who will cheer me while I will be 4 months pregnant. Yeah, it's seriously. And I'm not blaming her for feeling it. Honestly, the problem is, I guess, in our the society and the way that we often, you know, attribute a lot of things to this kind of phenomena. But in general, so it's either him stalking her or it's just a coincidence. Basically, now we all can definitely say it because there was no wonderful thing coming out of this. All I can say, it's quite ugly and his actions are very ugly. So this is the first point I wanted to make about energy. Then about manifestations. They both said that they manifested each other, and Liz said as well that she wrote down the description of Landon and he became this perfect image of this description. But honestly, was this situation included? And a lot of people now say that he's a narcissist. I guess there are a lot of traits that are similar, but we don't know for sure, of course. But do you really think that she really manifested this kind of man? Like this kind of guy with such low standards? The person who is going to really like treat her like a piece of shit, actually. So I think that it wasn't included in the manifestation, yet she believed him to be like this. And this is one of the reasons why she could move so quickly. So, for example, imagine you having all of this energy and everything, and the guy says, "Oh, I want you to be my wife." So for her, she can explain all of her irrational behavior through this magical thinking. Oh, but really, I manifested him. Yeah, of course, we've met 8 months ago, but we're going to get married because I know it. It's my intuition that tells me that it's correct. Even though if she looked at the facts and if she waited for a little bit, right, it could all be avoided, and this situation could be avoided, and her heartbreak as well could be avoided. Or maybe it couldn't, but it could be, the percentage of it happening could be minimized, which I think is always a great thing. Of course, once again, she's not to blame for his actions, but what could she do differently in this situation, and what can we do differently is a great question, I think. And magical thinking can often lead to these cognitive problems and cognitive traps, I would even say, because when you believe that you have a meticulous, wonderful intuition, as she put it, and she also, now she talks about the fact that her intuition actually told her not to trust him, that she had these dreams about him cheating or something like that, but in reality, girls, in her video with him, she says that her intuition actually is actually very strong. And the fact is that her intuition told her at this very airport that he was the one, the guy, the man who she should like take with her on a trip. So which intuition are we talking about? The one that told her to go on a trip, or the one that kind of like told her, "Girl, this is not your man"? And I understand that it can be really like hard at times to distinguish all of this at your head. That's why I will share with you in your head, sorry. That's why I will share with you some of like the tips of advice that I usually apply in my life. And once again, I don't want to say that intuition doesn't exist. Intuition is basically a knowledge we have, but we do not realize what it's based on. Like, we don't have a rationalization for it. I believe intuition exists. I myself have been in different situations where it really helped me, but does it always help? Is it a good source to base a life-changing decisions upon it? Solely upon it? Like, think about it. Of course, sometimes it does, but life is more complicated than our intuition, and we're prone to mistakes as well. So here's my tips in how we can minimize the effect of magical thinking upon our life. So first of all, of course, take your time. Like, wait, especially in a relationship. At first, everything seems lovey-dovey, and we all know this feeling of euphoria, the feeling that this person is the one. But as time passes, you will like see the real person behind the veil. And one of the things is understanding and humbling oneself that you are not omnipotent and omniscient. We are not really that smart. And we do not have some extraordinary powers. Like, you should be humble in a way that you should understand that you are prone to manipulation, and we're all prone to being manipulated, taken advantage of. There is no such a person, especially when feelings are involved. So you should really cut yourself some slack and realize, oh yeah, seriously, like, I may be vulnerable now because I have feelings for this man. So let me be, you know, understanding of this situation, and let me be careful in the way I treat myself in this relationship and I treat the others. So, taking your time is one of the most important things. Of course, as you take your time, be observant. Take notice of different things the person says, the person does. And one of the main things that I think is kind of interesting is, of course, a lot of people have talked about it before, but how they talk about their exes. It's important. I've seen a lot of people who really like bash their exes. They talk about the fact that their exes are this awful, disgusting people and everything. Of course, there are exes like this. I'm not taking anything like that from their experience, but I think that in reality, if your partner starts speaking so awfully, so ill of all of their exes, I mean, isn't it weird? And you are going to be the one in this place one day. You're going to be the one who is blamed for, I don't know, cheating. You're going to be the one who is blamed for uh, DV, and it happens. And the other women should not really be okay with that. So if you just met a guy and he starts talking about his awful ex who is crazy, who is insane, and she has done all of these things, think about it. You're going to be the one in this place one day. Talking about exes, maybe you've seen Abby, Landon's ex girlfriend, who has recently talked about her past experience. Man, it's sad watching it. I don't know whether it's true or not, but I assume it is. And if all of this is true, and like his patterns of behavior are also shown in this, but even now, Liz is almost getting cancelled because she protected Landon from her. So, girl, why? Is he your child? Like, why does he need protection from you? Especially when we talk about his ex, who could really be going through this awful experience of even like talking about it. She spoke about DV, she spoke about him cheating on her multiple times, her forgiving him multiple times, and now Liz is just labeling her a cheater and says that she deserved him. What are you talking about? Also, of course, like this point about accent, she said that there was a girl who called her, and this girl had an Eastern European accent. Well, Belgium is not in Eastern Europe, of course, but she didn't make fun of her accent. There was nothing like that. Maybe Liz is insecure about this as well. I don't know. One more tip would be educate yourself. Learn about different manipulations, different techniques, special narcissists use in order to get you infatuated, in order to really make you close to themselves, to make you connected, and to trap you in this web of feelings. If your relationship is too good to be true, I would really recommend you wait. Wait and pay attention. There are no relationships that are perfect. There are no people that are perfect. And there are no soulmates. I'm sorry. Magic disappears. Even her name, like Wizard Liz, like wizard, somebody who possesses some magical powers and everything. Yeah, it's nice to believe that you're someone special who has all of this. And I guess everything was going well until this very moment, right? So it's kind of sad, really. My final advice would be speak to your friends, speak to your family, discuss different problems in the relationship with them, and honestly, it's always good to have a different perspective, even though it can be sometimes wrong and sometimes it's embellished, like friends may be over like hyperbolizing some things when they speak out because they don't know the full situation. Yet it's important to get a different perspective upon your relationships and upon your life as well. And it's important to really talk about different things. So maybe when we are blind, when we don't know what's going on in our life, it's okay to get somebody who is not as infatuated, not as in love as we are, so they can share their more of a rational perspective. And having people who love you, who support you, is very important. And if you don't have people like this, you may seek out professional help and share it with a therapist. So it's really important to be grounded, because when we do not pay attention to facts, magical thinking comes into place, and we are just stuck in this vortex of cognitive dissonances, and it's scary. And I've been there. I'll tell you, I've been there. And we all, we really all need to learn how to not get stuck in these places. It's been Lizipticon. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.